So far, leading up to Extreme Rules, we have an intriguing US title match, a pretty good Intercontinental title match, a world title match that I'm looking very, very forward to, especially after their match at WrestleMania. I was really afraid, I will admit, I was really afraid WWE was going to ruin it by giving Naomi a Divas title shot. But then, I remembered that Raw is in London tonight. Oh yes! What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, with your Raw review. And, you know, g'day mates to all the friggin' UK fans that think that Raw should be WrestleMania for them, and could do that whole rant that I did last year, but I won't. Raw was fun tonight. I love when they go to, other than the ridiculously entitled UK members of the YWC, I love when WWE goes to the UK because it's got a bit of a different feel to it. The fans are a little bit more excited than the American fans because they don't get it as many times during the year as the rest of us. It's kind of like up here in Canada. I don't remember last time there was a Raw. Those of you that have seen my slideshows know that the past couple of shows that have come to Toronto have all just been house shows, which are fun. And as I've said, that the house shows have their own appeal to them because they're a lot of fun as well. I would like to get a Raw. I mean, I went into WrestleMania in Toronto, so we could do that. Cena comes out to start the show. Not only is he Cena, but he's Cena the US champ in the UK, which means he's a bad guy. Yeah, I get booing John Cena because he's John Cena, booing him in the UK because he's American. I want to pull up the voice of that guy from CinemaSins and be like, that's racist. But, we get the John Cena sucks sung to John Cena, as it usually is, and what I can only describe as English boos. Boos do not sound the same in the UK as they do in the States. I'm just saying. Also, we see that Michael Cole is back on commentary selling his, you know, shattered vertebrae or whatever the hell that Brock Lesnar gave him, which makes no sense, I will admit, but it does shut up the members of the YWC who's like, well, we got rid of Michael Cole, now Raw's gonna be great, hi, 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 hi. So, you know, to them, sorry about your damn luck. Cena looks at all the people booing him, does his typical thing, puts his microphone up, lets everybody boom, says London is loud, London is a huge crowd, and he starts kissing London's ass. Oh yes. Quite literally, oh yes, because he gets responded by yes chants. He pulls the bottom of the barrel ass-kissing comment of the century out when he says, I don't know about you guys, but I think London deserves WrestleMania. He gets cheered for a fraction of a second for that idea, and then they go back to the yes chants. He says, you all have to wait for WrestleMania just like I have to wait for Rusev at Extreme Rules. I'm going to do my open challenge. Bad News Barrett answers. We get loud. Bad News Barrett's chants, and I see right behind John Cena, as he's listening to the Bad News Barrett chants, there's a big guy with a big sign that says, WWE, please come to Israel. I could make a joke that Easter just passed, but I'm not that bad a person. Barrett says, you know, you're talking a lot about waiting. We have to wait for WrestleMania. You have to wait for your shot at Rusev. I could wait for my shot against Bryan at Extreme Rules, or I could beat you for the US title right here in England. And of course, that gets a big pop because we're in England. Fuck the Americans, because that's what you do. Really, really brings a cool idea forward is if Barrett had beat John Cena, spoiler, John Cena wins, LOL, but if Barrett had beaten Bryan tonight, would it have been Barrett versus Rusev versus Bryan at Extreme Rules to unify the mid-card titles? That's an interesting concept that we don't have to think about because, as I said, John Cena wins, LOL. The beginning of this match, guys, is so fucking boring. Towards the end, you'll see, as I go through it, it gets to be great, but the beginning of this match, oh my god. And I know people recently have said, you know, John Cena, when he's fighting up against somebody that he knows is going to get cheered, he plays the subtle heel, which is fantastic. But he starts with a headlock. His first move of the match is a headlock. Shoulder by Cena and a headlock. Boot by Barrett. Snapmare by Cena and another headlock. Immediate you can't wrestle chance with a harsh English accent. Obviously. Boot by Barrett. Shoulder by Cena. Repeat as necessary. Barrett ties Cena up in the ropes. He does this cool little thing where he's got Cena sort of sat up on the second rope like a picnic table almost, with his arms draped over the thing, facing into the ring, so his ass is hanging out of the ring, and he hits him with a couple knees, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then boots him out of the ring. It's a nice little spot. And then he pulls out the guns and does a quite legitimate Foley elbow off the apron to John Cena on the floor. That made me laugh. Shit drop kick by Cena, it has to be said, and a top rope crossbody. They brawl on the outside. Cena eats the steps, which is great. Once they get back in the ring, Randy Savage style elbow by Wade Barrett pops the crowd like crazy, and me. Winds of change by Barrett. They trade punches for a while. Second rope DDT style vertical suplex by Wade Barrett. What the fuck do I mean by that? I mean, Wade Barrett is standing on the second turnbuckle, brings himself around like he would be if he was going to do a tornado DDT, but instead of dropping the tornado DDT, he plants his feet and turns it into a vertical. It's like, I can't think of who does it on NXT. The tornado neckbreaker, where they bring it all the way around and over the rope. The variation on the tornado is really nice, and especially when you see somebody like Wade Barrett, who's not... I like the guy, don't get me wrong, but he's not exactly a high flyer or somebody you picture doing stuff off the ropes, so it's nice. STF by Cena, and Barrett breaks it. Barrett hits a boot to the gut and then to the face that look pretty legitimate. They trade punches. Wasteland gets a near fall. Bullhammer gets countered into the AA, but Barrett kicks out of the AA. The internet blows up because somebody kicked out of the AA, and fuck John Cena and fuck America. The attitude adjustment is countered into the Bullhammer, and Cena kicks out, and everybody boos. It's a boo. The internet blows up again. Fuck John Cena, fuck America. But there's a "this is awesome" chant at the same time. Springboard stunner and an AA gets the win for Cena, and I have no problem with this whatsoever. I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, are out there and Barrett got buried. But the Cena Invitational thing is really great. I don't know whether it was $1 Million Mark or Good Mike Work that pointed out on Twitter that Cena talking about the match coming up at the pay-per-view kind of takes any last residual bits of belief that somebody else might beat him for it before then out of it. That is a good point, but it doesn't change the fact that this was a fantastic match. Lana starts talking some bullshit on the ramp to John Cena about the match at Extreme Rules. Rusev jumps him from behind with a chain wrapped around his hand. But they announce that while John Cena's waiting for his title shot, Lana has been discussing with the Authority. They've done favors for the Authority, so the Authority has done them a favor and made their match at Extreme Rules a Russian chain match. Now, surely a Russian chain match is a chain match. I almost expect that the Rusev, going with the colors of the Russian flag and all that, will come out with a red, white, and blue no, not even a little bit. Rusev poses over Cena with the chain in one hand, with the belt in the other hand, with the flag flying behind him. Everybody loves it / boos it, and it's fantastic. Rusev Cena 3 is something that I'm legitimately looking forward to at Extreme Rules, and that's something I haven't been able to say about John Cena in a long fucking time. He's doing some good with this. It's still John Cena, and it's still the John Cena wins LOL and all that shit, but it's been toned down to a certain extent. Yeah, you can say he's gonna beat Rusev, he's burying an NXT guy, whatever, but he's making him look like a fucking boss in the process. It's fantastic. We replay the #1 contenders triple threat match from last week. We remind everybody that Orton is the #1 contender, and it's announced that Orton is gonna take on Cesaro and Rollins is gonna take on Ziggler. Whoever wins their respective match gets to pick the stipulation for the match at Extreme Rules, which leads the commentators almost immediately to land extremely hard on the question, what if they both win? Which kind of gave it away. I mean, like, let's be real. This was in the UK, so it was taped, and all the spoilers were out there online. So if you wanted to, I didn't. I heard some spoilers, which kind of sucked. But the commentators immediately landing on that question was just bad. The Divas #1 contender battle royal made me smile a lot. Bella's on commentary, as you would imagine. All the other divas are in the ring, and Paige is the only one that gets an on-screen entrance, as you would imagine with them being in London. She gets a huge fucking pop and looks fucking gorgeous as always. The battle royal consists of Paige, Cameron, Naomi, Alicia, Natty, Rosa Summer, and Emma. Summer and Natty fight on the outside on the apron immediately. Rosa takes the opportunity to eliminate them because she just heard herself being made fun of on commentary by the Bellas. I'm sure. Because Nikki gets asked on commentary who would she rather fight out of all of them, and she says Rosa Mendez. And then she laughs it off like Rosa's a fucking joke, and then she eliminates two women from the Battle Royal. Rosa Mendez eliminates both Summer and Natty. Emma eliminates Rosa. Alicia eliminates Emma. Paige and Naomi take out Alicia Fox and Cameron, and it's down to Naomi and Paige. I start getting nervous, forgetting for a moment that we are in London. The rear view misses. How do you miss an ass that big? But it misses. Oh yes, the Paige super kick does not miss though, and Paige is your winner. After the break, you know, she's had, you know, the nice hometown girl homecoming speech. You know, I had my first title the day after WrestleMania last year. I had my first WrestleMania win at WrestleMania this year. She gives a little bit of a shout out to AJ, which is nice. And then she gets jumped by Naomi for reasons. So Naomi looks like, and she just, there's no way I can possibly say this and tell you that I'm not being racist, other than to say that I'm not trying to be racist, but Naomi, first of all, sucks at talking trash, second of all, looks like a horse while she does it. Moving on. We get a Wyatt promo, which I don't write down. I wrote down all the Wyatt promos leading up to Wyatt versus Taker. I'm not doing that anymore. Basically, the idea being is whoever he's talking to now, I'm going to reach inside of you and pull out all the love and replace it with what is stronger, and that is fear. Which is great. We have Lucha Dragons versus the Ascension, so all the NXT marks are doing this. Connor beats down Sin Cara to start. Victor beats down Sin Cara some more. Rapid tags and double teaming by the Ascension. And here's where I have a problem. The crowd starts chanting Eddie. And I know it's out of respect. I really, really do. No disrespect to Eddie Guerrero, and no disrespect to, like, Lucha Heritage, the Guerrero name, and all of that. But I tried to explain to you guys a couple weeks ago why I don't really like the NXT chant when NXT guys are in the ring. If you got, like, Big Show versus Kane for the 100th time and you chant NXT because that's what you'd rather see, cool. But if somebody's come up from NXT to the main roster, don't cheer for them just because there's somebody from NXT. Cheer for them because they're awesome. Cheer for Adrian Neville because he's awesome. Cheer for the Lucha Dragons because they're awesome. Cheer for Roman Reigns because he's awesome. In all seriousness, cheer for Seth Rollins because he's awesome. Do that. Show WWE that you like that guy. That's a guy you want pushed. Or WWE's just going to pick, you know, whoever from the yellow team at random and hope that you like them. The same thing here. As I say, I know the historical and the respect that they're trying to show here, but cheering for Eddie, who, I'm going to say this nicely, who's not there, instead of for the Lucha Dragons and the Ascension for that matter, who are there and are trying to make a name for themselves and in any other situation would be getting cheered, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anybody any good. And I hope I don't sound like a dick saying that, but it is what it is. Victor gets an uppercut. Sin Cara attempts a victory roll and it kind of looks messy. Drop kick by Sin Cara. Kalisto tags in with lots of kicks. I could tell you what they all were, but you know what they are. There's that rolling kick, and there's just a bunch of random kicks that he does. Right in the middle of all this barrage of kicks, he hits that beautiful head scissor DDT that he does, which is nice. More kicks and a suicide dive. Eventually, Connor gets knocked to the outside. Victor's on the inside with both of the Lucha Dragons. Salcido del Sol and a Swanton Bomb get the win for the Lucha Dragons, who are growing on me. My problem is, with Kalisto being as small as he is, I'm not going to get into the whole big guy versus small guy thing. Put them with some teams that are a little closer to their size, so to emphasize their strength. I'm not saying because they can't beat big guys, but they're luchadors. They're known for the high-flying, high-paced lucha style. Put them in with somebody else that can do that. Put them in with, you got the New Day, leave Big E on the apron, have them go against Kofi and Xavier Woods. Have them go against the Matadors. The gimmick is shit, but Primo and Epico are good and could mesh with that style quite well. I mean, if we never wanted to see them again, we could put them in a match with Rey Mysterio, but that's another story for another time. Oh, yes. But yeah, Dragons win. Ascension is kind of, I still like them. Most people don't, so it's a thing. Booker T interviews Roman Reigns about WrestleMania. He puts over how tough Lesnar is, puts over how great the match was, and his only victory, and It sounded awkward in the promo, but the more I thought about it, the more I kind of like it. All he says is, keep in mind, I made Roman Reigns look different. And it's a neat little line, because on the one hand, it sounds like an off-cut... Sorry, guys. Voice is going, you know how it is. On the one hand, it sounds like a goofy line. Oh, I made him look different, whatever. But on the other hand, if you really think about that, I broke his skin. I stained his face. I made him bleed. I made him look different. He talks briefly about getting screwed over by Rollins, but hey, Rollins did what he was supposed to do. He's got the briefcase. It gave him that opportunity. He took it. Difference is, when I looked at Lesnar, I said I can, I will. I look at Rollins, and I definitely say I can because I have. Also a nice, neat little point. You know, what opponent would you prefer? One that you've never faced before in Lesnar, or one that you've destroyed before in Rollins? It's a nice, neat little thing. Big Show, on the other hand, screwed him out of the... I can't speak. It's a thing. Big Show screwed him out of the triple threat match last week on Raw, and Big Show is Seth Rollins' giant bitch. Oh, yes. Big Show comes up on the Titantron at WrestleMania. You failed. You lost. I won. You're a bum. I enjoy, you know, whether I do it for myself or whether I do it for my bosses, the authority, I enjoy keeping you down, and I will make it my goal in life to make you the biggest failure in the WWE. So, the Big Show, at this point in time, is the biggest, strongest, heaviest, most powerful member of the YWC in history. Oh, yes. Roman Reigns responds with, Big Show is just a Jumbotron giant. There's people like me that get in this ring and fight, and there's people like that stay up on the Titantron and just talk bullshit. Either he's lazy or he doesn't have the balls. I'm going to make you eat that trophy, and then I'm going to make you retire. Which, for all intents and purposes, should make a lot of people really happy, because the cheer that we got from this crowd and the whining that we get from the YWC is, hey, Big Show, retire. So if Big Show, by some stretch of the imagination, has a retirement match with Roman Reigns somewhere along the lines, let's say SummerSlam or whatever, give the guy a decent send-off because he had a decent career, would that not be a good thing? I will admit that the segment was a bit awkward, but I think Roman Reigns, although nobody will give him the credit for it other than me and maybe good mic work, Roman got a lot of good shit in here. He's not CM Punk, he's not Paul Heyman, I'm not saying that, but he got a lot of good shit in here, and it's good. Orton versus Cesaro, speaking of things that are good, starts with a collar and elbow tie-up and a headlock by Orton. Uppercuts in the corner by Cesaro, same by Orton. You know, anything you can do, I can do better. Double stomp by Cesaro and he rides a headlock. Tyson catches Orton's foot and hangs his chin off the apron in a nice little spot, and then Orton takes some time to attack Tyson Kidd on the outside. The referee ends the match as quickly as it began, and Orton wins by disqualification. All good, but Director of Operations Kane says, I'm out here, I'm in charge tonight, because as much as the authority wants to be back from their vacation and back in charge is as much as they don't want to be here in London tonight. Oh, yes, I'm sure that made all the little Brits cry or type or become keyboard warriors with keyboards and mouses on fire. But I liked it and it made me laugh a lot. Kane restarts the match as a 2-on-1 match. Randy Orton versus the Tag Team Champions. Cesaro and Kidd double team mudhole stomp Orton in the corner as we go to commercial break. We come back from commercial break, and he's still getting that double team mudhole stomp. It's good. Orton tries a suspension DDT on Cesaro. Kidd hits him with a reverse neckbreaker. It's nice. Tyson tries and fails for the sharpshooter. Cesaro hits an uppercut for a near fall. Wraparound backbreaker by Orton. Suspension DDT on Kidd. Orton back suplexes Cesaro on the rail, which is a nice little spot. But while he's doing that, Kidd runs the rail and boots him in the face in a spot that looks even better. Oh yeah. Top rope springboard elbow by Kidd, snap slam by Orton on Cesaro. Tyson Kidd comes off the ropes to do it one more time, and you can hashtag it. RKO out of nowhere gets the win for Orton. Orton gets to pick the stipulation for his match at Extreme Rules, or gets to pick a stipulation, depending on how things go later on tonight. Rollins is pissed off at Kane in the back. Rollins wants Kane to change his match tonight. He wants to have his match against Jamie Noble because Jamie Noble knows what's best for business, and Jamie Noble will go out there and lie down. Jamie Noble doesn't like this at all. Jamie Noble points out, you know, it should be Kane that goes out there and lies down because Kane, you know, made the triple threat match last week. Kane set up the match tonight. Kane is doing all these things that are screwing you over. Kane threatens Noble if he doesn't show up, he's going to hook his testicles up to car batteries. Fan-fucking-tastic for anybody that remembers that spot with Shane McMahon back in the day, back when cool shit happened. Seth Rollins says, go ahead and call Triple H, but I think you know what you need to do. You need to do what's best for business. Everybody out there that's been complaining that Dean Ambrose has been doing nothing but lose recently. Dean Ambrose won a match. Dean Ambrose took on Adam Rose, so I wouldn't blame you if he lost this match and you guys lost your shit. But let's see. Was this a squash? Was it a squash? Does anybody care about Adam Rose? But even still, was this a squash? Mudhole stomp by Ambrose, chops by Ambrose, and a dirty spinebuster by Adam Rose, and it was. Headbutt, jabs, and chops by Ambrose. A splash and a running bulldog by Ambrose. A suicide dive by Ambrose. Rebound, clothesline by Ambrose. Dirty deeds by Ambrose. And a win by Ambrose. Oh, yes. Kane and the Big Show talk in the back about what's best for business. What's best for business is Kane, you know, going and doing the job for behalf of the Authority. Kane begrudgingly accepts, and he makes the match not Ziggler versus Rollins, but Kane versus Rollins. And I can hear the Lex Man groaning as we speak because, you know, Kane didn't come from NXT. My chair's doing its thing as it normally does. Two guys that I like, but had a match less than a minute long. Stardust versus Fandango. Stardust pounds Fandango. Face first suplex by Stardust. Leg lariat by Fandango. Disaster kick by Stardust. Stardust gets the win. Now, when we didn't see Fandango's entrance, but I'm assuming he came out with Rosa and the typical salsa music and whatever. The match was less than a minute long. He grabs a microphone and he has this big revelation. He says, my mistake all this time has been sharing my dance with you. And he looks at Rosa and he dumps her. He says, I should be sharing my dance with everybody. And the original Fandango music starts playing and everybody starts fandangoing. And it's all good, and I guess Fandango's face now. So Stardust, who by all rights should be in a mid-card title feud, or fighting with his brother again, or fighting somebody else that's crazy like Luke Harper or Dean Ambrose or whatever, was used to facilitate the Fandango face turn. And it's so ridiculous. I can't help but laugh. Because I know it's Cody Rhodes, and because I know Cody Rhodes almost thrives on ridiculousness, this doesn't bug me as much as I know it bugs some other people. Cody Rhodes will bounce back from this. And I'm not saying this the same way, oh yeah, go ahead and bury him every week. But we've seen Cody Rhodes. We've seen him with the mustache gimmick, the clear mask, the dashing to deranged Cody Rhodes, and now what he's done with Stardust. He gets handed ridiculousness on a regular basis and spins shit into gold like he's doing it in his sleep. So this does not bother me not because, oh, maybe he'll bounce back, but because we've seen that Cody Rhodes can bounce back. And this was really fun. And the shows that are overseas, always have a little spot left aside for something like this that's a little lighter, a little more fun. Back in the day, this may have been like a Santino Marella spot or something along those lines, so it didn't hurt my feelings at all. Basically, Brian, in the back, finds Kane and starts punking out Kane, which I don't get whatsoever. But basically, he's like, "What? You know, you how can you think about going out there and laying down for Seth Rollins and what happened to the Kane I used to know? What happened to the Kane that I used to be partners with?" And he says to Daniel Bryan, "Please leave." He says, "What are you talking about? Please leave? Who are you?" And the best line in this whole thing, and I'm giving Daniel Bryan a lot of credit here, was he says, "I'd insult you if I thought it would make a difference." And it's just, and Kane yells and Daniel Bryan leaves. Rollins versus Kane is next. He berates Kane and Kane takes his jacket off and his tie off and his shirt off. So clearly he's halfway to losing a tuxedo match, which is really sad. He lays down. Rollins goes for the pin. He kicks out. He kind of half-assed double choke slams. J&J Security hits a choke slam hits an uppercut to Rollins. They banter back and forth a lot more. He has like a internal struggle, you know, leading to a Kane face turn eventually, whatever. Hits a choke slam, thinks about what he's just done, lays down, pulls Rollins over on top of him, which I will say looked a bit questionable, I'm not gonna lie. Rollins gets the win. Rollins gets to pick a stipulation. Later on tonight, we get it announced that the stipulations will actually be announced tonight, so there won't be a main event match. The main event segment will be a talking segment where we find out where the what the stipulations are for Extreme Rules. Miz versus Mizdow. Mizdow comes out with Summer Rae. Mizdow and Summer Rae are announced as Damien Mizdow and his Marine 4 moving target co-host, or co-star, Summer Rae, which just has the Miz going tech, which is great. Miz pounds on Mizdow in the corner, low boot, and back in a neckbreaker by Mizdow. Miz tries for the skull-crushing finale and misses. Mizdow gives the Miz a taste of his own medicine, hits a roll-up with the tights and gets the win, and kisses the girl. It's fantastic. Primetime players make fun of the bad day, the detention, and the lost matadors. I really just... On the one hand, these guys are funny. On the other hand, when are they going to have a match? Ryback versus Luke Harper is a random ugly brawl that really went nowhere. Harper gets himself disqualified by hitting Ryback with a piece of the announce desk. This is nothing but an opportunity for Ambrose to jump Harper. They brawl for a little while. Harper escapes the dirty deeds and bails. So, we may have Harper versus Ambrose going forward. Playing off of the ladder spot at WrestleMania and the table powerbomb a couple weeks ago on SmackDown, which is nice. Naomi cuts a promo in the back, and to which I want you guys to look right there between the lines, and I will say as follows. Naomi cuts a garbage black Scott Steiner with tits promo. Because that's what it was. Oh yes. Ziggler comes out, takes a shot at Kane for taking him out of his match that he was supposed to have with Rollins. He says Kane is the devil's favorite dumbass and says, I'm going to take a page out of the John Cena handbook and I'm going to have my own open challenge. Which, on the one hand, is kind of kissing John Cena's ass because, you know, I'm sure John Cena is not the first person to have open challenges. Remember the Kurt Angle challenge? Remember the Master Lock challenge? Remember all those other... Remember anybody else that's ever had an open challenge for anything? But I'm willing to overlook the fact that he's kissing John Cena's ass a little bit because it's Ziggler and because of the match we get next. Dolph Ziggler versus Neville. And again, the NXT guys are creaming their jeans, but it's good. It's good. Dolph Ziggler works the arm with arm bars and drags, and Neville returns the favor. Dropkick by Dolph, and he hooks in a cross armbreaker. Backflips, boots, and a standing backflips, boots, and a standing moonsault by Neville. Neville rides a headlock. Ziggler hits what I have written here in capital letters as a jumping what the fuck spike DDT. Because Neville got put on his head, and it was dirty. And that was a very, very nice way to send us to commercial break. Not. Headlock by Ziggler, flapjack by Neville. Neville hits a top rope moonsault to the outside on Ziggler, which is nice. Ziggler is down in the rampway, which is really cool. Neville exits the ring on the side opposite the hard camera, so you can see him doing a little tightrope walk along the rail, and then he does a Jeff Hardy run the rail into a 450 splash on Dolph in the entranceway, which is fucking great. To which Twitter blows up with all this, like, hashtag fuck Jeff Hardy bullshit, which is nonsense, and I could do an entirely separate rant on, but I won't. Step up enziguri by Neville and a super kick by Dolph. Ziggler misses a splash, the red arrow Ziggler misses a splash, gets in position for the red arrow, Neville goes for the red arrow, Neville Why the fuck do you guys watch my vids? Ziggler misses the splash, leaving himself in prone position for the red arrow. Neville goes for the red arrow. Ziggler moves. Neville lands on his feet, charges at Ziggler, eats post, and eats a zigzag. Ziggler gets the win. Nice little ending spot. Ridiculous spots in this match. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. Oh yes. Sign of respect by Ziggler, who is busted open over the eye. I don't know when exactly that happened, but you don't see it until they close up on his face after the match was over. Sheamus comes out to ruin the party, jumps both of them. Ziggler fights back. They brawl on the outside. Sheamus literally throws Ziggler's head into the post and follows that up with a brogue kick. So we're probably getting Ziggler versus the new and improved Sheamus at Extreme Rules. And I have no problem with that whatsoever. If that is actually happening, that might be one of my more anticipated matches. Not gonna lie. Main segment is a whole lot of talking, the ultimate climax being that the two stipulations for the match at Extreme Rules is Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins is going to be in a cage and the RKO is banned. I get it. I get, you know, Rollins trying to take away his enemy's main weapon, but this whole idea, we've seen it before. We've seen it with the Sweet Chin Music. I think we've seen it with the Stunner. I think we've seen it with the Triangle Choke by Undertaker. it means the entire match is going to be the announcers asking, is he going to use the RKO or not? I mean, I get why we have the cage, because, you know, the whole idea of a cage is to keep outside interference out, and as Orton says tonight, you know, Rollins' biggest weapon is his help, because he can't win on his own. He says, let's do it on our own, or let's do it tonight even. They brawl, RKOs for everybody, Rollins runs away. I still think it's going to be a good match. You don't need a pin in a cage match, unless it's a pin submission escape thing. So there's a whole lot of things that Randy Orton could do in a steel cage to make it so that he can escape and Rollins can be down and all that sort of thing. But I don't like the you can't do this match, because it really, really begs the question of, he's definitely going to do it. When is he going to do it? He's going to, you know, I can see J&J climbing the cage and eating RKOs off the top and all that shit. We know Rollins is going to hold on to that title until a main pay-per-view. I just don't want this to be a really, really lame, convoluted ending, and I think it's going to be, and that's sad. But overall, a lot of cool shit happened. We didn't get Naomi in the Divas title picture, which makes me happy. We got Orton versus the tag team champions in a great match. We got Ziggler versus Neville in a great match. The Battle Royal was a lot better than I thought it would be. The John Cena Invitational is still picking up steam, and it made Barrett look great in the process. This Raw, overall, was great. As far as going to Extreme Rules, it was okay. There's some stipulations, as I said, I'm not particularly pleased with. You know, the red, white, and blue chain match between Rusev and Cena shall be interesting, to say the least. Want to thank you guys, as always. Take part in my fan interactions, take part in my Ask the Phoenix Q&A. You guys are giving me a great response on the Fights on Wednesday Night series. Thank you for all of that. Please keep doing it. Please keep participating. Please keep letting me know what you guys have on your minds. And with that being said, and with the fact that it is indeed ridiculous o'clock in the morning, I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. What did you think about Raw in London? Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye, guys.